Home is a place.
No, no, no. Home is a feeling.
Home is my motherland.
It's more where you feel alive and inspired.
Well, I think we're talking about the same thing, aren't we?
Home
is where our story begins.
What's your story?
Homesick at Home every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m.
On Radio Van 103.1 with Ina MK
and Rena D.
Shot City, I'm coming home again.
Good evening, dear listeners of Radio Van. It's Friday again, and we're here in our studio, and we're not alone. We're here with our guest, Taline. Taline? Go ahead, your turn.
Taline Kevonian.
Kevonian, right. And I'm here with my co-host, Rena D, and myself. Hi, Rena Jan.
Hello. How are you?
Good. And you? We're really excited because on Monday, this coming Monday, we have a very special occasion, our official 20th anniversary celebration, and also we're having with lots of surprises, live bands and treatment, and also we have a new studio, the opening of our new live studio with plugins and lots of different opportunities. So we're kind of in a hassle, busy, running around, but still we find time to go on air and host our beautiful guests. Taline is not alone tonight. She came along with wine and some goodies. Later on, she'll tell where they come from, this eco stuff. But let's start from the beginning, Taline. Where you come from? Where were you born? Raised?
Okay. No problem. Let's do this.
Where have you been?
Where have you been?
So I have a similar background to some people, which is my parents are from Lebanon. My mother was born in Damascus. My father was born in Beirut.
Mm-hmm.
They met in Lebanon. They got married. They had 2 children. And then because of the war, they had to emigrate. They eventually ended up in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And in 76 and in 81 I was born, so I'm the only one in my family born in the States. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Armenian school, private school, always learning Armenian, and then went to college as well again in California. And after college I moved to Armenia. Moved to Armenia in 2004 for a couple of years, and then after that I went to school in Paris for a double masters, and then after that I moved to Brazil to do an internship. And then after that I moved to DC.
Take a break.
Right, like you asked a simple question.
Breathe.
Yeah, Washington DC for about 9 years. New York for a year, and then I moved here again to start the company that I'm doing, Melina's Garden.
So is this your last destination?
You know, life never knows. You never know about life.
But so far, so good.
So far, so good, definitely.
Great. Taline, what does that mean, international exchange specialist? You mentioned that in your long bio that you said.
Yeah.
We're still reading.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yes.
We'll tell you.
Oh, we have plenty of that.
I mean, international. So because of the education, my background, this is why. Because let's say I studied conflict resolution, as well as international affairs, as well as international development. So I hit multiple aspects of the international world, international politics as well. Mm-hmm. So with this, I decided to become an international specialist.
And now from that to this, I mean, how did that all happen?
So right now I work in the farming industry, right? Agriculture sector, growing quinoa and chia in Armenia. And how did that happen is because throughout my life, and I always thought my career path is going to be diplomacy or state agencies, U.S. state agencies or nonprofit organizations. But then I was part of that world, and I noticed that there was multiple bureaucratic issues that was happening, and I knew that within those organizations I wouldn't be able to do something directly with Armenia that I felt would be making a change. Eventually, I decided to start growing quinoa in Armenia, and the reason because it actually hits multiple sectors. One seed can help with the local economy, can help with the national development, can help with the immigration issues, can help with the health issues, can help with multiple issues that Armenia is facing. And so I thought, let's give them the answer.
That's a great philosophy. Each seed makes a difference. So let's start from
It
you,
does.
you.
So, what was it that really called you here, Armenia?
I mean, the fact that I'm Armenian, of course.
Was that it, or
I mean, they say, why Armenia? And I say, why not? I mean, it was either Nepal, okay, Kenya, or Armenia. But Armenia is a passion of. I think we all know that in the diaspora, that's a theme. You know, Armenia is a passion, and coming to Armenia since the '96, since the age of 14, almost every year, I felt like I had a tie and I had an understanding of the country and the lay of the land. Also some friends and some support and some backup. Why not? You know, why Armenia? Why not? Why not Armenia?
yes? I mean, the main thing is, did you have any misconceptions? So the first time you came, let's talk about that. That was in 2000 and
when I first decided to move here.
Move here.
Okay, so 2004. I was in my early 20s and I thought I had a job, and I moved out here so that I can implement after school programs, okay? And what happened was that there was some protests, governmental protests that happened, and so the people who offered me the job, they retracted their job offer. But I was already here. So I said, I'm here, I'm going to do it. I love Armenia. And some of the experiences I've had here.
And it's mutual, I think.
I hope. And so
you're working with land, you know.
I'm working with the land, yeah, definitely.
So the very basis.
But the misconception, I think,
Yes.
is the fact that at that time, during those 2 years that I was here, and I worked for multiple people, I worked for the Golden Apricot Film Festivals, I worked for the diamond industry, I worked for Human Rights Hotline. It got me in multiple sectors of Armenia. At that time, I had misconceptions, okay? But with this time, 2015, that I moved out here with this project, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew what was happening. And even when I was coming back then, I said, I will not move to Armenia again unless I have a goal, until I have a reason to be coming here or to be here. How many cafes can you sit in? You know, how many barbecues, khorovadzes can you eat? How many times can you sit in a taxi and go to Garni Gerart? Or I needed a reason, a purpose to be here, and so I created it.
Beautiful.
Some people are wondering, how do you use this quinoa?
Love it.
Okay, so
Some people don't even know what it is, actually.
more recipes, more details, more stories.
Let's dive into quinoa. Yeah.
Yeah, but before that, I'm gonna remind you that we have 4 minutes to go, and then we're gonna go on an advertisement break. So go.
No problem. So quinoa in itself has existed for centuries, okay? The Mayans would eat it. South America, Central America, it's one of their biggest exports. What they actually do, what happened is that during the Spanish colonization, when they came, they wanted to stifle the indigenous population, right? And all of their foods and their culture so that they could take over. Quinoa being one of them. So they started not to allow quinoa to be used in the society. So they started to still farm it, but in secret and in like high altitudes, okay? 4,000 meters above sea level, okay? In the mountains, in the snow. And so they were able to guard their tradition that way. Eventually, now it's become part of the market. And so because half a cup of it can actually sustain your entire daily nutritional value. If you are on the verge of being starved to death, if you eat half a cup of cooked quinoa, it will
can you say in grams?
Sure, let's say 75 grams.
Okay.
75 grams of cooked quinoa. If you eat it that day, you will actually have all of the vitamins and minerals you need to live one more day. Okay? And so quinoa can be cooked like rice. It looks like bulgur, and it has It has multiple vitamins. It's called the mother of all grains, and it's a pseudo grain. So it actually doesn't have the property of wheat. People who are allergic to wheat or rice or anything like that can actually eat quinoa because it doesn't contain gluten. You cook it, you eat it like a salad, hot rice, you put it in your soups. You can do anything with it.
After advertising quinoa, we need to go on an advertisement break. And then later we'll find out if we can put quinoa in dolma, spas, chash, and other. Stay tuned. Our guest is Taline. We're talking about eco, lifestyle, and much more. Steven's gone. Rafi's gone. Rena, de asa. What am I gonna do?
Well, dear, that's the way men are. Maybe you should try a woman.
What? Rena, kezi cheraf.
Ina hangazdatsi. I meant as a co-host.
Vay. Homesick at home.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night.
Vay. We're back in the studio. This is Homesick At Home on our English-speaking show. Our guest is Taline, and we are discovering the wonders of quinoa and much more later on. I would like to remind our listeners that they can, besides the frequency, they can go ahead and watch us live on our official website, which is www.radiovan.fm, and also our official Facebook page. And if you don't have the opportunity to listen to the show till the end, you can later catch up on watching the video on the above mentioned platforms. So, Taline,
Yes.
can you tell a couple of recipes how to make this quinoa magic stuff?
Super simple.
Is there a special fusion of Armenian cuisine with the quinoa? Is it possible to do it?
So I know that the word quinoa is a little difficult, but utilizing quinoa is super simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what is quinoa in Armenia, by the way? I just discovered it 15 minutes ago. I was kind of shocked.
So it's called sagachod.
Sagachot. Okay.
Sagachod. Sageru choda, right? Geese grass.
This doesn't
Okay?
look like grass at all.
It
I
doesn't.
mean,
But it's super weird because actually I had my cousin. He's very into Karagan Armenian, very old-fashioned Armenian, and he actually found the translation of quinoa in an 8th century Italian Latin agricultural dictionary. And so I went with it.
Was that a sentence right there?
That was a name. That was a noun.
can we put quinoa in dolma?
Yes. You can put quinoa wherever you use rice or any other type of grain. So wherever you use buckwheat, wherever you use rice or spelt or bulgur or anything, you can do quinoa tabule. You can do quinoa spas. You can do quinoa dolma. Okay, as you mentioned. These are for the traditional everyday. For example, me at home, I cook quinoa in the beginning of the week. I cook, let's say, a couple cups of it, and I leave it. No extra dressing, no extra anything. But during the week when I create other dishes, let's say a salad, I'll put a couple spoons of quinoa into my salad.
So you just boiled it?
I just boil
and
it like rice, 2-to-1. It's very simple. There's some people who like to put butter in their rice. There's some people who I put, let's say, a bouillon, in it, and then I just let it go. And if I have to use it for any other dish, I just get it and I put it and add it to it. You can eat it warm. You can eat it cold. You can eat it raw in a sense that you can put it in water and let it sprout. You can actually toast it and then put it and then use it. And as well, you can use it as flour. You can get it and you can make it into flour and then start baking with it, make bread with it. So for diabetics is very good because it actually lowers your blood sugar level, as well as, let's say, people who are allergic to wheat or to grain. And so it's very simple to use in your everyday. Recently, we've started to do black quinoa and red quinoa as well because it actually has a very nice look to your cuisine. So if you make a salad and you add all these different colors, like let's say corn or carrot or parsley, so there you have like 4 different colors in your one little salad.
So this
For instance, I love making pancakes. Can we make pancakes from quinoa flour?
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow. Nice.
Add a little banana, some blueberries, and
quinoa is the coolest grain.
Quinoa is the grain, okay? It's called the mother of all grains. So
But what is the reason that quinoa isn't as popular as the other grains?
popularity because of time, you know? Let's say, for example, my first time that I ate quinoa was 2014. The first kilo that I bought of quinoa cost $28. Okay? So about 23,000 dirham, right? Or, yeah. Or, no. About 13,000 dirham, okay? And so, and then eventually, and now you can actually find a kilo of quinoa in the United States for about $7. So that's 1/4 the price it was 5 years ago.
Cool.
So it's about popularity. The popularity will increase. You know, it's about educating. It's about realizing how it could be used, where it can be used, how it can be used. And it's just about, I mean,
For instance, 5 years back or 7 years back, I don't know, we never ate rucola.
right.
Or what else can I bring as an like broccoli wasn't so popular in Armenia, but now we grow broccoli.
Exactly.
here,
Yeah.
so.
Or forget that, even in the villages, I remember we would give oranges and bananas because people had never seen oranges and bananas in the 90s.
Wow.
Okay? So that didn't need to be popular, that just needed to be exposed.
Okay, since our show is called Homesick at Home, this is one of the like so-called standard questions that we asked her.
Okay.
I guess, where is your home? And how would you define home in general?
Okay. Nice.
Was that for the champagne?
Yeah, home is nice. That's right. What else?
Well, I mean, where would I consider my home to be? Where I am, obviously, right? I sometimes make the joke of wherever my credit card bills are sent,
That's very practical.
right? Because, I mean, that's how I'm going to be tied to life, you know, financially. So my credit cards are sent to an address in the United States, but obviously I spend most of my time here in Armenia. And home is where I created. I believe I've lived throughout my life renting apartments or renting my space. I've never owned it. And I know some people say, no, you need to own, you need to live somewhere, you need to have that. For me, that doesn't make a difference. For me, it's wherever I feel safe, wherever I feel comfortable, and wherever I feel accepted.
Taline, you seem like a fun, active person. You are. What do you do for fun?
Where in the world?
She takes quinoa bath.
Soaked in chia and a coconut oil mask.
That sounds like fun.
Quinoa trips, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, in Armenia, what I do for fun?
Yes.
In Armenia, what I do for fun is what Armenia is famous for: to sit somewhere, okay, and to watch and to see people. Oh, you are here. How are you? You know, oh, come sit with us. And then you get up and you go and you sit somewhere else. There's days where I'm like, I was supposed to work today, but I sat in 7 different cafes. I saw a high school classmate of mine I haven't seen in 20 years. You know, so the fun in Armenia definitely differs than the definition of fun abroad or somewhere else. Because here there's a sense of community that even I know for a fact that if I was in the same location with them in another country or another city, there would never be an effort for us to sit together, okay? But because we see each other in Armenia, you're in Armenia, I'm in Armenia, let's sit together, you know? So
Let's celebrate.
let's celebrate the fact that we're in Armenia, that there is an Armenia for us to be in. So that's what I do for fun, to go, and there's a situation. I also have the pleasure of working with farmers. So I'm out in the villages a lot, and I love it, okay? Like milking cows, or God, I feel like there's a bad eye on me. We have to do a madach. You know? All right, let's do a madach. Okay, who's free? Everyone's free. Everyone comes together. We all, you know? I just recently celebrated my birthday, and I decided to do it in Datev. I've been going to Datev again since '96, and I just have this tie with that region. And so imagine, I invited some people in the area that I know, villagers, and they sit there like, Taline, but wait, we're gonna do it like this. I said, why? They're like, "Who? You didn't invite others?" I said, "Look, I'm here because how often can I say that I celebrated my birthday in one of the most beautiful places in the world, of a village of 500 people, eating chash and drinking your homemade vodka? Okay,
Wow.
for me, this is the most exclusive birthday that I could ever have. Okay, so for my definition of happiness and joy and excitement is defined by that, because you sit with them. If I wanted to be in, there's some people say, well, it should be like this, or Armenia needs to change this way, and I say, look, we've come to Armenia because it is the way it is. We, of course, there are the things that we're not used to because it's not things that we're part of every day, or meeting deadlines, being somewhere on time, these daily issues. But we're also coming here because it gives us a sense of this belonging, or this culture, or this experience that we can never experience somewhere else.
Yes.
Or even if we do, at least here we know the language.
Yeah. And talking about languages, how many languages do you speak?
Plenty of them. She speaks the language of nature, trees, dialect of quinoa.
Actually, it's very funny. One of my farmers was all like, yes, we just need to find the language of quinoa. Okay.
There you go.
There you go, right? Once we find the language of quinoa, this thing will grow like no other.
Yeah.
But, well, actually, I feel like I don't speak enough languages. I speak enough, but I don't speak enough languages.
What's your sign?
I was
Excuse me.
going to ask her.
I just recently did my birthday, so November. I'm a Scorpio.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm a biter.
but if needed.
If needed, exactly. Yeah, Martik Babush, they think I'm very soft sometimes, but then they realize no.
You're soft if needed.
If needed. Don't come in my path. But no, otherwise, so I speak English. Armenian, Westerner dialect is how I was raised, and my schooling was. Coming to Armenia, I learned a little, mostly in Eastern Armenian.
And Russian words.
Not only Russian words, I actually took
Russian.
I speak Russian.
Great.
I had a so if we can go on a little tandem here, yeah. So I was taking Russian classes, okay? One every week, 3 times a week, hour and a half lessons. And she would give me lessons on like what to do. This is this, table is this in Russian, whatever is this in Russian. And
Table
I did
is
it.
a boy.
Boy, mushina, devushki, girl. Anyways, so so I started doing this, but then like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months later, I'm not doing any of the homework she's giving me. Okay, so she's just like, forget it, Taline. Talk to me in Russian. Tell me from the last time I saw you until this time I saw you, what happened? Because she would come, I'm like, dude, I know you're here, but I didn't do the homework because you know what happened to me after you left? I did this and this and this and this and this. So
She
then
just wanted to know about your life. It was a curious teacher.
so I started telling her stories about what happened. One time I've actually been taken to the police station, right? And so I started telling her this story about like how I went to this place, and then the security came after us and dragged us, alcohol and
Oh my God.
right? And so I
Cheers.
got dragged and I went to like a thing, and then I hid under the staircases, and then the police didn't find me, and all this stuff. And she's like, Taline, do you understand what you're saying? I'm like, I understand what I'm saying.
You know what? Cheers and applause.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Applause, applause.
Taline, I mean, I can tell that you constantly inspire people.
I hope.
You do. What is it that inspires you?
This is something that I
No,
talk
what
with
is
some
the
friends.
source of that inspiration?
Netflix and
Quinoa.
Friends. That's a great question, because that's something that I sometimes you can't always be jovial and happy, and you can't always inspire and motivate,
Of
right?
course.
Of course, you go through your phases. I mean, let's all address that. Of course, that happens. What's this life for? Why am I doing this? Shall I continue? Forget it, man. Who cares if they eat quinoa? But and so I was just like, they take, but who's giving it to me? People are like, man, you're great. I want to do it. I want to be part of it. I'm like, someone needs to fill me, okay? And so for these reasons, I take very long breaks from Armenia. Only not because of Armenia. If I was doing it anywhere else, again, I would need these breaks for me to reconnect with who I am, for me to be able to go and interact with other people from other sectors, and not for them to know who I am or what I'm dealing with, or to always talk about the business, for just me to understand what's happening outside in the world, as well as to see, again, creatively. Here in Armenia, Melina's Garden is creating the path, right? With, as well as others, there's a movement in Armenia with health, with fitness, with what to eat, how much to eat, you know. And there's multiple other people in the country now who are also working on this. So we're creating the path towards this sector. But that's why I'd leave, so that I can understand what else is happening, so that I can grab those creative ideas and concepts and come back here in Armenia and see how we can implement those here as well. So as we were talking about quinoa and how to eat it and how to prepare it, we're also working on creating quinoa vodka. We're also creating quinoa power bars, quinoa flour, as we mentioned. So different things. And these are things that I've seen outside that I've been able to think about creating here as well.
Quinoa
by the way,
flowers.
yeah.
That's interesting.
By the way, I have a question regarding the name Meline's Garden. Why?
So Melina is my grandmother's name. Melina is my grandmother's name, and she was alive when we started the company. Unfortunately, she passed away, but she was very cute. Like, she as well had never eaten quinoa, like, you know. She's like, what is this? And then I show her packet and all of that. And the garden part is the fact that, let's say, for example, here, everywhere that you go and you sit down, you're like, this is from our backyard. This is from our, from our garden. My grandmother made this from the tomatoes we grew. So whatever it is. Eventually, so I wanted people to understand that this was something very accessible to them. As well as Armenia itself. I mean, all the mountains and the microclimates that we have, they're beautiful. It's a beautiful garden that we have. If you look on the internet, if I create quinoa, so much so, okay, that like all of the arable land of Armenia is growing quinoa, okay, it's still gonna produce as much as, let's say, a larger country's garden, okay. So Melina's garden, it creates itself as like, your grandmother's home cooked or whatever in your backyard, but as well as on the international circuit.
A childhood cozy feeling.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Like
By the way, Taline brought not only quinoa and other goodies, but also she brought hellos from Armin Saidi.
Yes, yes.
So I would like to say warm hellos and hugs back to him. He was one of our Homesick at Home guests. I don't even remember. Maybe it was during American in Year of Untitled, the show. So hello.
What's today's title?
So now it's
Homesick.
Homesick at Home.
Okay.
Rina,
So
did you train our guests before coming?
I don't remember. I mean, listening to this lady here, I don't remember anything now.
I think she's
Seriously.
training us,
I mean,
okay?
we should start eating quinoa.
Definitely.
Seriously. Yeah.
Taline, who would you want to be in your next life? Apart from quinoa.
I mean, my next life can still be lived in this lifetime,
Ooh.
because let's say, for example, I actually believe that I'll be living in Brazil and learning how to surf and living in a
Brazil.
bungalow and on the beach, on the red sand beach. And diving into the ocean every morning, and
I
then
love
eating
that.
pão
Can I
queso
join you in this
in this
dream?
lifetime, right?
And
Why
quinoa
think
in the
about another
background.
lifetime? Let's
This
do
one
this.
and the other one.
Sorry,
Please save a spot for me. What was the most risky decision that you've made in your life? Risky action decision?
Moving to Armenia and growing quinoa. I mean, seriously, because what I did was I
Okay,
It
quinoa.
was kind of like a
word-
challenge, right?
of course
Word
it's a
quinoa
challenge.
is censored now.
Okay,
Ta-da.
moving to Armenia and
Yeah.
starting a business. Okay.
no, I
I'm
mean,
starting growing the coolest grain.
yeah, which is called teeth.
No, but really, I mean, it was very risky because obviously it's different to come here and visit or even work for somebody else who's created something. You say, oh, I don't like this, and you get up and you leave. obviously, us repatriates, we have the possibility of going somewhere else. We have a passport that can allow us to move somewhere else if need be or want to be. But so this is why it was such a risk, especially since I was 1 year in planning. I was living in Washington D.C. at that time, and I lived in a 2-bedroom rented apartment. I started Airbnb-ing my spare bedroom. So out of 31 days, 28 of the days of the month would be booked by I don't know who. I put a lock on my door, sometimes I would be scared to sleep in my house.
Yeah.
But I used that income to be able to use it as seed money to start the company.
Mhm.
And so to have that build up, that anxiety of, okay, I'm doing it, it's going to happen. Every time you have to make that one step, that one step puts you closer to your actual realization.
Yeah.
And so that's very scary. And then to actually take that risk, to give up the apartment, to quit the job, to do this, to do that, and to say, okay, that's it.
Taline, are you a dreamer?
I'm a realizer. I make things happen.
But that all starts with the dream, though.
Of course.
Okay, so my question was how to combine dream and the practical way of thinking, so as to make the dream a goal and then to achieve it. Because usually there are so many people who stay in this dreamer's stage and don't go far from that.
Are you actually asking this question to a Scorpio?
Well, yeah, I am. I dare
That's what they're
I
famous
just
for.
dared to ask this question to Scorpio. I'm a Libra,
But that's the thing, okay? Dreaming, right? And then you say, okay, let's make this a reality. But you're like, oh my gosh, if I make this a reality, then I need to do this and that and that. And then you get all these complexities in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that stops you from even opening the door. So how I sometimes do it is I just say it's a task. Mm-hmm. Today I have to put my left foot forward. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow I'm going to put my right foot forward. Okay, the next day I'm going to put my left foot forward. That's it. I don't look at what's going to happen at the end or what I'm expecting. That's why people say, oh, how did you create something and make it successful? And I'm like, is it successful? I don't know. Because I'm in my own little shell and I know that tomorrow I need to answer 2 emails. On Monday I need to go to 3 meetings. Whatever it is, you do it.
So all you need to do is Kailara.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Kailara ducho. Okay, just step forward. Dare to step. The left foot, right foot.
Sure.
I love that.
Of course. Yeah. Because if people ask me, what do you fear? Okay, if that's on your questions, take it out.
Yeah, we have a question about phobias.
Yeah,
So what do you fear?
You can
My
combine.
fear is fear. If you have fear about something, then it'll stop you from doing anything.
Yeah.
So my fear is to have fear. So I don't even think about it.
So it's kind of taking responsibility not to fear anything.
Kind of like facing what you might fear.
Don't
This
even
is kind of-
face it. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. It's life. Somebody's scared of heights, but somebody can walk on a tightrope. Okay?
Are you scared of heights?
No. I skydived a few times,
Scorpions?
bungee jumped. Yeah.
Scorpions?
No. You know what's very
That was
odd?
a trick question.
You know what's very odd? Everybody talks about
Are you
seeing
scared of yourself?
That's for sure. I'm like, Taline, what the hell are you doing?
Making a nice transition. What would you change about yourself?
I mean, internally, externally.
We're
Everything.
categorizing everything here.
I
Very
mean,
interesting.
In complex.
So I would like to change some way of my interactions with people. Okay. Sometimes my personality is perceived in the wrong light, but when I don't intend it that way.
But
Okay.
it's the
But
other
that's-
person's
Yeah,
problem.
that's what I was going to say.
Anything else?
Unacceptable.
Dana, wrong answer.
Can I be happy? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, of course, everybody is always going to have something that they want to change, but I'm not perfect. I'm not ideal.
So what is it
Well,
that it's
but I'm
not
not-
Well, you-
perfect in your...
But she just said something and we just disregarded that. Can I be happy? She said.
Can
Is
I
that
be,
something?
No, she means can I be happy with what I have, what I am?
Yeah, but can I be happy with, I mean, why would I, why? I mean, it's very deep, because obviously I'm going to want to change my hair, my lips, my teeth, my body, my internally. I don't, I'm going to want to be more strict or more easygoing. I don't know, or more
At
smart.
this moment, you
but
don't need any of that. Okay? My teeth, my lips, my.
Thank you.
Okay, anything
But
else?
to accept who you are and to move forward in life, I mean, that's the most important. Because if you don't, then that's what's also going to.
Do you accept yourself?
Yeah, definitely. My biggest challenge is to have others accept me, accept who I am, starting from family to surroundings to work to business colleagues. That's one of my biggest challenges.
I'm talking about challenges. Looking at your bio.
Looking at your body.
The quinoa.
Yes.
What is exactly going on here?
She's done with men, huh, co-host?
Should I throw a couple of ketchup phrases?
I've never seen her like this,
Hey girl,
I've never seen me like this.
you've been running
I'm
through
just
my mind.
witnessing something for the first time here, exclusive on Radio Van.
So I can just. Should I just say, you've been running through my mind all night. Are you tired?
Okay, back to the real stuff here. Okay.
Are you sure? What is the real stuff, Rena?
Tell me. I want to hear Rena. I'm all about Rena. Let's do it.
The real stuff is this next question, which says,
Quinoa.
what is your next challenge?
Yeah.
Growing coconut.
My next challenge.
Can you grow a sea in?
In Armenia? Yeah, if I do that, I'll definitely not move to Brazil.
How much champagne did you actually have?
It was just like a little sip.
Okay.
Okay, what's my next challenge? Hold on. Let's recenter, guys.
You want to come and sit over here? We'll go over there.
This was Homesick at Home. We're done for today. Okay, no. That was a joke.
Oh,
What's your next challenge, Taline?
Okay, so my next challenge, to be super honest, and people who know me know that I'm super honest, is to decide whether or not to continue or not.
Where? Here?
Armenia, Melina's Garden, quinoa. This is my biggest challenge.
Okay, so she's doing this so that we can.
She's doing it on purpose.
Please.
It's a marketing stunt.
No, it's. I mean, like. I like it, no problem.
Let's change the subject really quickly.
No, but it's a challenge because you say, okay, should I keep growing? Should I continue to face those challenges, those obstacles? Abroad they're saying, my family's like, is it working? Are you making money? Possible investors are like, what's your profit? What's your net loss? What's your this? And I'm just like, I'm still somewhere that I feel that I'm still at like level 2.
What about, are you married?
Here we go.
To my job.
Da-da-da-da.
Melina's Garden.
Quinoa.
So, okay, actually recently, again, I'm always open. So I recently had a health issue that I had to deal with. And so it was an OBGYN gynecologist. And so they were asking me while checking me, okay, how many children do you have? 0. Mm-hmm. Well, how long have you been married? I'm like, that's also 0. Mm-hmm. He's like, then why the hell are we even trying to save your uterus?
We have hope and dreams and quinoa.
But that's an Armenia thing, like you don't have a husband, you don't have children, like why even bother with the female organs,
The same thing. One seed can save life.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
How much champagne did you have?
No more champagne for this girl here. We're done with it.
Champagne will save our lives.
Since we're talking about marriage and
sure, okay. How long?
What about love? What is it for you? The quinoa woman.
Don't love it.
No quinoa there.
Love is where the home is. You asked me where my home is.
But that's so
But it's
cliche.
But it's
You're
not.
not.
No,
You're,
listen. Love
you're
is
not
where the
using
home
that,
is.
are you?
And home is
Darling,
usually
you're
in
not
the
cliche.
men's
You're
arms.
quinoa.
Don't
Listen to me, guys.
Love is quinoa.
Look, I've had my former boyfriend. It was like we need to stay somewhere and this and that, and I'm like, why? Why do we need to do that? If I'm with you, okay, and we have a common love and a common understanding and a comprehension, if I'm next to you, I feel at home, okay, and that's all that matters to me. If I have you as the person that I'm in love with, the person that I love and I want to spend my time with, doesn't matter where we are, doesn't matter what we're doing, as long as we're next to each other and we have a common understanding. Sometimes I read those articles about couples that travel together and they stay in different locations multiple weeks, months, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. They have found each other and their surrounding environment, their actual material doesn't really matter. And that's the kind of love that I'm looking for.
So you don't tell me you replaced this guy with quinoa.
I did.
That's what we're like.
I placed this guy with Armenia, with Armenia's future, okay? Because I actually see, what people say, why Armenia again? Because here in Armenia, you can see the ripple effect. If you throw a pebble, okay, into Lake Sevan, you can see the effect of that pebble rather than if you throw that pebble in the Pacific Ocean. Okay?
Ripple effect. Take notes. Ripple effect.
What would you change about Armenia to make it a better place?
People to listen more rather than to talk.
Ooh.
For them to listen.
Does she mean us?
I mean, you guys already found your place in my circle. So, but
I'm
no,
not thinking about that question.
but everybody's always wants to get their voice out and to make themselves heard, right? Which is why you get the octaval, like people starting to talk above somebody, and then you still have a fighting match, and somebody who doesn't know Armenian, like, damn, they're fighting. I'm like, no, they're just saying hello,
I mean, we should have coffee with this girl. If she's the same under the influence of coffee, she's my next close friend. That's it.
I agree.
I don't drink coffee, but okay. 1 cup a day only.
She drinks quinoa coffee.
And that's a
The
challenge for
censored
you.
word.
She had too much.
I can use
That's
it.
it.
What's the question you were thinking, Gavrina?
What would you take to a desert island? That's what Rena was trying to say.
How did you know that? No,
I mean, obviously quinoa, so I don't starve to death. Half a cup a day is enough. You evaporate the seawater, the salt from the seawater. You cook it and you live.
Quinoa overdosed.
Oh my God, she just said that.
I mean, give me a good question.
Okay, I love this champagne. Cheers.
Okay.
Taline, what's your motto in life?
Quinoa.
And don't you dare use something that somebody else has said.
I hope they haven't. I mean, do you want to hear the motto then the story, or the story and then the motto?
Both.
I knew she was going to say that. I left it to her.
Okay, so my motto in life is it never hurts to ask. Okay? And when did I learn that? I
We
learned
heard
that.
that before.
I learned that when I was about 21, 22, 23. Because at that age in the United States, you're allowed to go to bars and clubs. And I constantly kept on seeing red velvet ropes. And so I would say, what is it blocking off? So I would approach and ask the security or whoever was guarding the red velvet rope, like, what's on the side? And sure enough, there would be times when they would actually open the red velvet rope and I would walk through. So then from there, I understood that it really never hurts to ask. People can automatically hinder themselves from moving forward because they themselves are scared to ask a question. Can I walk through that door? Can you have this instead of that? Can I have chicken instead of beef in my hamburger? Okay, can you add avocado to my salad? It never hurts to ask.
Okay, what kind of red velvet rope are you expecting
Excuse
to
me.
be opened?
I see here a red velvet rope on the
Couch.
screen, which means that we have to go on an advertisement break. No, seriously.
She's not tipsy enough. Okay.
She finished the bottle.
Okay, I swear you can come over and see it yourself. It's a red velvet rope. Okay, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with Taline discovering all the velvet ropes along with.
But you're giving her time to think about this.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she deserves it.
She likes you.
Yeah. Love is in the air. This is Homesick at Home. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Rena and Ina and Taline.
Աղջի Ռենա, ո՞նց ես։
Ina, I thought this was an English-speaking show.
Բայ խայտարակ եղա, are we on air?
Yes. Every Friday night.
Homesick at home.
If only we had such positive and active and amazing guests every Friday night. I wish. I'm making a wish. I'm putting this seed in the ground of my dreams.
And we're cloning her.
I mean, I feel the positive energy. What can I say?
Yeah, it's here. And can you tell that it's 55 minutes?
Are you enjoying it?
We are. Definitely. Are you?
I'm still here.
We need more champagne.
Yes,
No way. That's enough for me. Okay, Taline. What are your dreams?
First, you asked me what my next dream is. Now you're asking what are my dreams. My dreams. Okay, so people say, when will you stop? What is success for you? Okay, and so I say, you know what? Because when you give somebody $1,000, they're gonna want 5. They're gonna need 5. When you give them 5, they're gonna need 10, right? So the more you make, the more you have issues. The more money, more problems, babe. You know. So I say, okay, I have a cap. Okay, I have a level. My level is to make enough to be as successful as to be able to have the opportunity to rent a yacht fully staffed 2 months out of the year and to go and tour islands. If I have enough money,
We're invited.
yeah, I don't want to buy the yacht. That's so much headache. Okay, you have to port it, you have to clean it, I want to be able to have enough money to rent it 2 months out of the year and to have a good time with it and to travel. This is my dream.
Great.
From Brazil
Brazil.
to the
I
yacht.
told you we
know?
need more champagne.
To feel like we're on the yacht already. I've reached my dreams.
I think we would start crying after the yacht dream if we drank a little more. What do you think? When does somebody's freedom start and end?
Or when they take it for themselves and make their own decisions, and it ends when they give the power to somebody else to make those decisions.
She's been asked this question before.
Never.
No, I just.
But that's my definition.
I just text message during the break.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
If you give
was-
that power to somebody else, then that's it. Your freedom is done. And here I see that often. And so for me, one of my greatest joys is whenever the people that I'm working with finally see that they're the ones that make their own situation. So even today, I told one of my employees, she's been complaining about our cell phone or about the heat. I said, look, if you're going through a torturous procedure, you have the possibility to change it. You come and tell me, let's buy this phone. Let's change this in the heat so that, if you're cold, all you have to do is find the solution, tell me, and we get it done. So you put yourself into that position.
Can we do that too?
Come to me with your problems. Come to me.
You know.
We have the last 2 minutes to go, okay? So,
That's it. I've had enough.
so, Taline, we're having a great Friday night and hope that we'll have an amazing weekend and a wonderful Monday celebration.
Yeah.
We have still a lot of work to do, which we really enjoy the process, not only the result. And wishing all our listeners have a great weekend. But
Eat quinoa.
there is something. Do you have any questions to our show or to us? this is your only last chance on air, okay?
Well, I know through Rena that she has another background, right, in the musical department, the musical sector. Sorry, I don't know about your background, but for my understanding, I want to understand why
It's
this was
R-rated. I cannot talk about it on air.
just like on the secret YouTube live video. There's a secret
Oh my God.
viewing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm changing the subject right now. So
Okay, I write.
people who heard this lady just felt
Rina,
the energy
she was asking
here.
about my background.
I'll ask you later about your back
Yeah,
to your
that's
front.
what I mean, you heard her, you felt the energy. Check out the product she's trying to give you.
Thank you.
Did you like our product?
Definitely. I mean, with a little spice and all of that, it's all good.
Well,
Oh my
Taline,
God, I just went somewhere else with that. Okay.
for the very first time on air, Rina gave me a hug. Okay, so this is this is a real seed of love you guys are facing tonight. This was Homesick at Home, our English-speaking show on Radio Van 103.1, number one. Okay, and it's our 20th anniversary. We had a long way, and we have great achievements to celebrate on Monday. And we hope that you guys will pass by and just say congratulations and join us having a drink. And we're looking for at least another 20 years to go.
Wishing you 20 years, definitely.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us tonight. Here is applause for you. Hi.
It was really fascinating.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You changed our lives. We'll never be the same again, Taline.
It goes from one seat to one person.
Thank you. This was Homesick at Home with Rina D and Ina MK. And, of course, Taline. Stay tuned, stay safe, and see you next Friday.
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
the weekend.
Kisses and hugs. Bye-bye.